Well, hello again, students. And today's lesson in Autodesk Inventor Professional 2022 is going to be to show you how to make a little 3D model of an atom. We'll do a carbon atom. So the first thing to do in these kinds of situations is to make a project folder. Just open a new tab, move to these 9 little dots, the Google Apps, select Drive, and then when you got the drive open, you click New Folder. Just get rid of Untitled folder and type ATOM for Atom. And that's a project folder, and then create. And you can see it creates a folder right there where I'm going to save my proton, neutron, and electron models. So now you're going to navigate to the Autodesk Inventor Professional interface, start working, close this interior window, and select New, Standard IPT, create. The first thing to do is create the proton, which is just going to be a sphere with a 2-inch diameter. So we're waiting for the interface to load. Once it does, start a 2D sketch, select the XY plane, and then use the line tool to create a line on the Y-axis. Click, and then drag down. As you're dragging down, just take your hands off the mouse and go 2, enter, escape. And then zoom out a bit with your mouse wheel to see that you have a 2-inch line there. Now I use the arc tool. I select the top, click, and the bottom, click, and drag it out until I see just a 1 there. I want a 1-inch. Right there. When I'm done with that, I finish sketch and revolve. And it should turn blue if you've done it right. And then you just select the axis. And there you have a sphere. Click OK. At this point, just go to this default materials list. And I'm going with flaked satin blue. Gives me a nice look for a proton. Then I'm going to go File, Save As. And here's where you got to navigate to the correct folder by using this up 1 level folder with a green arrow. Double click. You should see G drive, or if you keep going up, you'll eventually run into remote user. From there, you double click everything. Double click G drive. Find your atom, double click. And then instead of file name part 1, just name it proton, P-R-O-T-O-N, proton. Save. At this point, it's very simple. Go back to the materials list, select that little arrow, and I like to use metal 1400 F hot. Click. And then I select File, Save As, and change the title here to Neutron, N-E-U-T-R-O-N. And it's already going to be defaulting to save in the atom folder. So I just click Save. And the final situation is to edit this to make an electron. So what you're going to do is right next to this word revolution in the browser here, click the plus sign, then double click Sketch to activate it. Boom, boom. And you see it says a 2-inch diameter. Just make it half the size. Double click it. You see an edit dimension box pop up. Change that to 1 and hit enter. Makes it half the size. Finish sketch. And then go up to this default list and change 1400 to maybe metal 2400 F. There's your electron. So select File, Save As, and instead of calling it a neutron, just change the name, E-L-E-C-T-R-O-N, electron. And it's also saving in the atom folder. Save. Now that the 3 components of your atom are done, you return to the File up in the upper left corner, this orange button, select File, New, Standard IAM. That's an assembly. So you'll create a new assembly. And here I am in front view, so I'm going to use place. And I have to make sure that, again, this look in says atom, so I got to go up one level, and I see atom there. Double click and find my proton, and then select open. Boop. And once I have it out there, what I want to do actually is return to the front view and then place 5 more. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hit escape. Then place neutron 6 times. Make sure it's flat when it says front right there. It's flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hit escape. And then you can place 6 electrons. Now, refer back to what you know about atoms. The interior shell will have 2 electrons, and then it'll be satisfied. And then the remaining 4 electrons will jump to the next higher energy level. And in that shell, it can contain up to 8. But for carbon, it only has 6 electrons, so there'll be 2 on the inner shell and 4 in the outer shell. So at this point, you just manipulate these spheres into a larger sphere. I'm just going to start putting the protons and neutrons together. Just place them like so. Now, one thing to note is they're all on the same plane at this point. So if you try to, move them around so that it's looking a little circular, see how I'm adjusting them to be more or less circular in composition. And then I'm going to look at them top view. This is where you can start to pull them out. One left, one right, one left, one left, one right. So you want to create more of a spherical shape by looking from the top down. There's no real right or wrong. Again, see if you can't squeeze them in a little tighter. You can zoom in a little bit so you can get able to select them. This is the fun part, just looking at these. And then return to the front view and make sure that it looks reasonable. Then turn to the right view and see, can I squeeze them in a little tighter in the right view? Then back to the front view. Once again, squeezing them in a little tighter. Once you have your neutrons and protons into a spherical area, you want to then place an electron to the left, to the right, and again, I'm not sure what happened to my other 4, but at this point, I'm just going to add 4. So I can go place, electron, click open, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I place them farther away from the nucleus to show that they're in the second outer shell. Now I return to the View tab. Instead of selecting orthographic, click the little tiny arrow and select perspective, angle. Ooh, I kind of like that kind of an angle there. See if you can't zoom in to where you're getting this kind of effect. Maybe you want to try realistic ray trace and see how they look. Ugh. And so then you can also make a small adjustments if you so choose. I see no harm in placing them a little closer together. Maybe slightly move this electron There. I'll let this render down the bottom right. Once your ray tracing done, you can select File, Export, Image, and instead of calling it Assembly 1, call it Carbon Atom. And instead of leaving it bitmap, change it to JPEG or PNG, and then select Save. And that's the image you're going to want to turn in for assignment credit. Good luck.